What's good? We are back to talk about the 2026 NFL prospects. Today, we're going to talk about Jordyn Tyson. Now, Jordyn Tyson, he's an intriguing wide receiver prospect, and if we're being real, Jordyn Tyson, I would say, is the fan favorite in this year's draft class when it comes to wide receivers. You could go online, look up Jordyn Tyson, and that guy is a highlight machine. I'll tell you that. Everyone loves his highlight film, his mixes. This guy is one of the flashiest receivers in this class. Now, where did Jordyn Tyson come from? Well, he came from out of Texas. He was a 3-star prospect, and he enrolled in Colorado his freshman year. Now, I might as well get this out of the way, which is the injury concern. And in his freshman year, I mean, he was very good. He broke out pretty early at 18 years old, but his season cut short due to an ACL, an MCL, and a PCL injury, where it was serious enough where he had to sit out his sophomore year and be a redshirt. And that was the year where Deion Sanders took over Colorado. Jordyn Tyson, he couldn't make the spring training the following season after the knee injury. And Coach Deion, he basically said that Tyson wasn't a part of his future and it wasn't his vision for the team. So that's why Jordyn Tyson continued to leave for Arizona State. And in his junior year, he had an elite season. And it was cut short again with another injury where he broke his collarbone and missed the last couple games of his junior year. And he missed the college football playoffs where he could have played with Cam Scattaboo. Now, Jordyn Tyson, he could have easily declared for the draft after that 2024 season, but he then went back into his senior year that season as well, got shortened due to a hamstring injury. That is the red flags when it comes to Jordyn Tyson is he available? I mean, everyone loves the saying, availability is the best ability. And when it comes to a contact sport, especially in the NFL level, you're gonna take a lot of hits and you're gonna get injured from time to time. These are just freak injuries that just so happen to happen in his college career, and this is just something we can't really predict. But with the consistency of him getting injured every year in his collegiate career, it's pretty scary as a prospect, especially considering he will be a first-round senior, which, well, we'll talk about that later. But the things we do love about Jordyn Tyson is his ability to create and separate, especially man on man. He is the best of the best in this draft class, and the twitch and wiggle makes him do that. And if we want to compare him to the other top receivers in this class, I mean, his breakout age, he broke out at the age of 18, younger than Tate and Lemon. His dominator rating in 2025 was through the roof, 55%, considering he didn't really play alongside with anyone. He was their only target in Arizona State, and he was efficient and he was dominating for sure. Now, last season, when it came to yards per route run, he was the worst out of the three, considering, I mean, his season did end up shortly, but Tate and Lemon, they skyrocketed in their final season in their junior year, being better than Tyson in that area. And also, he was third in that group when it came to yards per team pass attempt in that area as well, with 4.2 yards per team pass attempt. Now, we'll get in depth with more of the analytics compared to the three. I mean, the QBR when targeted in his career, it is a very low number. Let's talk about it. I mean, Sam Levitt, I'm not a big fan of, but this is how Jordyn Tyson is when Sam Levitt's throwing his way, and it's really not that good compared to the rest, obviously. But his career yards per route run, it is pretty good compared to like Tate. And I think it is declined because of his junior year, which could have affected it, especially his zone yards per route run, which he is the worst of the bunch. But man, when I tell you he is the best man separator, I mean, against man coverage, he is the best of the best. No one comes near him in that area, especially the target rate where he gets hyper targeted in the offense. I mean, that's what you want to see in your receiver, right? You want him to get a lot of targets and you want him to do a lot with it. And with those targets, he is open 84% of them with an open target rate of 84%. And with the contested catch rate, he is one of the best as well. I wouldn't even say this is bad. 52% is good when it comes to moving the chains for first downs. He has a 12.5% first down rate, which is really good. And obviously, when it comes to the touchdown rate, he is one of the best as well in getting touchdowns, the best out of this three. Now, on the right side, we won't ignore it. His weakness is avoiding tackles and yards after the catch per rate. He is not that good after the catch, even though on some of his highlight films, it looks like he could, make a man miss and do all these flashy plays, but he's not a guy that'll, make you miss and break a lot of tackles. Now, comparing to the rest of the class, he is third in receiving yards per game in his draft class with 68 yards. And he's just behind Elijah Surratt and Makai Lemon in that area. And coming back to the first downs, in that metric, career percent of routes resulting in a first, he is fourth in that metric with 12.5%, as I showed you, compared, top 5 in his class when it comes to moving the chains. And to show you how good he is moving the chains in the last 2 years, these are the top prospects. It's not even compared to his class. We have Jeremiah Smith, who is the best of the best, Makai Lemon, and Jordyn Tyson is right there at number 3 in first downs per route run. And within the last 3 draft classes, I mean, this is the best pre-age 21 power conference seasons by first down per route run. You got neighbors at the top, Marvin Harrison. This is obviously going to include tight ends like Colston Loveland as well. And what do you have? Jordyn Tyson at number 4. These guys are elite chain movers and will extend the possession on the field. I think I'm pretty confident that if you need a first down in the NFL, you know who to target. Man, this guy, he just gets a lot of targets. And when I tell you he gets a lot of targets, I mean, he's leading his class. 31.2% in career target rate per route run. He's the only guy in his class who has over 30% in his class. That's how valuable he was to Arizona State. And when it came to him getting touchdowns, he was elite at that as well. Top 5 in career percent of routes resulting in a touchdown. Now, I don't even gotta explain more. When you need him, he's gonna be there for your QB, and he's gonna be a QB's best friend. Now, when it comes to comparing to other wide receivers in PFF grades against Power 4 competition, which is the best and the best last season, he had 80 targets, and he is one of the top guys in that range, with Carnell Tate and Makai Lemon being number 1. Now, if you were wondering how good is his hands compared to the rest of the class, well, here we have it with his career drop rate compared to the class. He has a 7.6% career drop rate. Not a lot of the career drop rates, translate a lot to the NFL. Occasionally, when it comes to superstars as well, first rounders. If you look up like Jamar Chase's career drop rate, he has a pretty high one as well, around 7%. I think Jetta's had a high one as well. There's a few names in the NFL where a lot of superstars had a high drop rate in college. I mean, that's pretty normal considering how much he got targeted in college as well. When it came to career contested catch rates per PFF, he's no Carnell Tate, obviously. That guy is on a whole nother level when it comes to bringing the ball down in contested areas. But he is still a top 10 in that metric. Only 52%, like a couple percent lower than the rest of the guys that's projected first round, like the Makai Lemons, the Bostons, the Omar Coopers. It's a good list. Being a deep threat down the field isn't that easy for the rest of the receivers, but with the career receptions on passes thrown 20 plus yards down the field, Jordyn Tyson is still top 10 in that metric in his career. I mean, look at Carnell Tate. I mean, obviously he wasn't getting that much targets compared to Tyson, but he's only there listed at 18, and he's known to being one of the best deep threats in college football. Now, continuing with the yards per route run conversation, these are the leaders versus Power 4 defenses. So this shows if you need a receiver to show up against the best of the best, against competitive football defenses, Jordyn Tyson will be your guy. He is top 2 in this metric, just below Makai Lemon. I've seen Jordyn Tyson go crazy against ranked opponents. Like Texas Tech last season, racked up 100 yards and a touchdown. TCU was ranked, he racked up 126 yards, 2 touchdowns. Against Kansas State in 2024, which was one of his best games, where he racked up 176 yards with 2 touchdowns. Now, there's been some questions. Yeah, Jordyn Tyson, he is a beast, but can he be a wide receiver 1 in the NFL level? For starters, I found these numbers between these 4 players, and it was dating back all the way to 2017, and it lists an average depth of target at a minimum of 12 yards and a man coverage of over 4.3 yards per route run, and with a zone yards per route run of over 2.3. Also, a drop rate percentage lower than a 7% drop rate. The list of names that he's with is Xavier Worthy, Mike Williams, and Juwan Jennings. Now, for context, these guys are pretty much wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 guys in the NFL. I have another chart here which makes it a little bit better. This is a list of names dating back from 2020 with a man yards per route run with a minimum of 3.9 and a contested catch rate with over a 55%, along with a drop rate of under 4%. The guys that are listed with these metrics is Devontae Smith, T. Higgins, and Teteroa McMillan. What these guys have in common, I mean, Devontae Smith, he was pretty much a wide receiver 1 until A.J. Brown took over. Now, T. Higgins, he pretty much played his career with Jamar Chase. Teteroa McMillan is the one in Carolina right now. But if you ask me, if any of these guys were on their own team, they would definitely be the wide receiver 1. Receivers at 18 years old, when it came to best yards per route run, excluding screens, seasons by power conference receivers, and tight ends since 2015. This is the list that shows up. We have Marvin Mims at 1, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Jordyn Tyson. Now below him is Brock Bowers, George Pickens, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Those are 3 impactful guys in the NFL. Now take this list as you want. The guys over him haven't really been, hits in terms of like crazy production in the NFL level. So where will Jordyn Tyson land, considering, he did this at 18? Considering he wasn't an early declare compared to the rest of this list, he seems to be an outlier here. So who knows what realm he could fall in? Probably be around, at best, like the second best option, or who knows, the very best option on his team. Now here's another obscure stat that you want to hear. Since 2023, here's the top 3 receivers and percentage of routes with a target in college. These are guys that got targeted a lot, and 1 is Jordyn Tyson, that leads the way. 2 is Tylan Wallace. 3 is Puka Nacua. This is an interesting list, considering all of these guys were not early declares, all right? But out of this list, Jordyn Tyson will be the only first round pick. Puka Nacua, he was a 5th rounder. Tylan Wallace was a 4th rounder. I'll let you decide how you think about that. Now, when it comes to weakness, obviously the injuries are such a red flag. We're going to talk about his yak ability, yards after a catch, and he's with a group of receivers underneath the 25th percentile in his career, with guys with Drake London, McMillan, BTJ, Rome Odunze, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, but there are also names with Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Legette, Mike Williams, Rashad Perryman, Josh Doxson. It's a group of guys that really isn't that good after the catch, considering he has a lot of flashy plays, but he can't really extend the play. When it comes to missed tackles forced, he's not that good at that either. Here are round 1 wide receivers underneath the 25th percentile of missed tackles forced. He's in a group with the Calvin Ridleys, Josh Doxson, Jahan Dotson, Xavier Legette, Ricky Pearsall. I mean, Carnell Tate, he's in this list as well, because he's not a guy that, likes to miss tackles a lot. You could see it off his game film. But yeah, Jordyn Tyson is one of those guys, along with Denzel Boston. It may seem that he can make guys miss off of his tape and his highlights, considering he has the wiggle and the flashy plays, but under these metrics, he's just not elite at that. That's just not a part of his game. Here's a chart that dates back all the way from 2014 to now of wide receivers drafted in the 1st and 2nd round. It talks about completion percentage over expectation and average depth of target for receivers. We could break it down on the right side, where receivers have a high completion percentage over expectation when targeted. You got the Jackson Smith and Jigbas, the Jalen Waddles, the Justin Jeffersons, the CeeDee Lambs, the Jamar Chase, the Chris Olaves, the Ladd McConkeys, the Amon-Ra St. Browns. A lot of good names on this right side of the quadrant. Now with the names up top, it lists the average depth of target with how far they get thrown the ball. And yeah, Jordyn Tyson isn't on this right side. Jordyn Tyson, if you skim over to the left side, he's in names around with Zay Flowers, who was also a senior coming out of college, who was also a 1st rounder. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., Xavier Legette, Michael Pittman, DK Metcalf, Xavier Worthy, Keon Coleman. I mean, he's in an area where you kind of, make a stink face. Now, does this mean it's over for Jordyn Tyson? No. All right, I just wanted to point out a chart that has a lot of names on this, considering it's a wide range of data going back a whole decade of receivers and how they panned out in the NFL. I mean, you see the names and where they're charted on the right side. They usually list a lot of good names, but Jordyn Tyson, can he be good? Obviously. I mean, we see Zay Flowers. It depends how you view him. Zay Flowers, I mean, he produced very well in his 2025 season. Can Jordyn Tyson be that level kind of guy? Of course he can. Now I have another chart that comes from PFF. It talks about receiving production and per target and per route. Now on going from left to right, it is career adjusted yards per route run, and going up will be career adjusted yards per target. On the top right quadrant, you're going to see elite names like Jackson Smith-Njigba, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Devontae, the best of the best. But where Jordyn Tyson lies, he has a high career adjusted per route run, but he has a low career adjusted yards per target. Now you scroll down and he's in the realms of the Josh Downs, the Cortland Suttons, the Mike Williams, Kenny Galladay's. I feel like it's just an ugly list to be a part of. And since we're bringing data back from all the way from the past 10 years, here is data where he ranks in the percentile versus round 1 and 2 receivers. And when it comes to career target per route run, he's in the 92nd percentile because he gets targeted a lot. We've already went over this. His career yards per route run is in the 63rd percentile. It's still pretty solid. Now career yards per target, it's in the 15th percentile. That is really low. His career yards after the catch, 14th percentile. This is really low. This is excluding screens. Screens are not included into this. And with career missed tackles for, he's in the 5th percentile, one of the worst at making guys miss. Now I know all his weaknesses might sound harsh, but these are the numbers, and this is just what is getting compared for previous prospects. And I don't know, we question, can he be that wide receiver 1 in this class? I don't think it's crazy to say no, because it's not really hating compared to the other guys where he could have, declared earlier, which would have helped him out, develop more and have more upside. But when you're going back at college as a senior, it's pretty hard to, have more upside than you could have had just going to the league a year earlier. Jordyn Tyson, we know he wasn't a very highly recruited guy compared to guys like Carnell Tate and Mekhi Lemon. He was also a late declare because Carnell Tate and Mekhi Lemon were 2 early declares, will be entering the draft after their junior year. And he was lower graded than both of them. His best season was an 85 PFF grade compared to Tate's and Lemon's, who had an 89 and a 91. Now, I wouldn't say he has 0 elite traits. I would say his separation against man coverage is elite. When it comes to, after the catch and just going long for it and fighting for extra yards, it's kind of a handicap in that area. Now, this hurts me to say it, and I'll admit it. I was a big fan of a guy like Rome Odunze, and this is me before knowing that Rome Odunze was also a late declare. He was a top 10 pick, but he didn't have the same injuries as Jordyn Tyson. And also Jordyn Tyson and Rome Odunze are both late declares, which Rome Odunze declared for the draft his senior year, same as Jordyn Tyson is right now. And as you see, Rome Odunze, he wasn't known as having the best yards after catch ability as well. He was a good contest catch guy. He used to haul in everything on that team in Washington. And I was very excited at the moment, but watching him the last 2 years, he hasn't really shown to be that guy. I'll give him grace considering he got injured his second year and he was battling injuries for the second half of the season. I don't know if he has the superstar traits compared to previous prospects who were early declares. I know you're probably wondering right now, why does this guy keep bringing up the early declare? Why does it matter if he's entering the draft as a senior, considering he got injured his sophomore year and couldn't play the entire year? Well, because historically, here are some top 24 receivers per game in their first 3 seasons since 2006. Now on this list, 9 of the top 12 guys were early declares. 18 of the top 24 were early declares, so 75%. If you see on this list, there are 0 first round seniors, all right? 0. You see Puka Nacua, he wasn't a first rounder. Michael Thomas, not a first rounder. Marquise Colston wasn't a first rounder, had Breeze. T.Y. Hilton wasn't a first rounder. Tyreek Hill wasn't a first rounder. Deebo Samuel, they were not first rounders. I think this just goes to show that it's pretty rare. If you're a first round senior, then you're probably not going to have this type of upside compared to the rest of the early declare first rounders and be on the same level of stardom as these guys. Now, if you want to put it in fantasy perspective, here's PPR points per game. with this list, and obviously you could tell all the red dots are early declare first rounders. None of them are 0 first round seniors. There's not one. All right, there's still Nakua, Tyreek, Debo, Marquise Colston, Cooper Kupp. They were not first rounders. All the guys on the red, they were early declares, left early their junior year as soon as they had eligibility, and they went on to the NFL and they started thriving since 2006. Now, I can't lie, it's kind of hard to bash a prospect like this considering it was, out of his will. I think he should have declared early, but who knows? I mean, the last first round senior that we seen produce in terms of like fantasy wise as well was Zay Flowers. Now, can he be that? I mean, look at Zay. He's the number 1 on his team, right? And he had a really good season. I believe he cracked over 1,200 yards. I think Jordyn Tyson could be that. I think he could definitely be like a high-end wide receiver 2, borderline wide receiver 1. Now, it hurts me to be saying this because Jordyn Tyson is very talented, but I think it just hurts his prospect profile considering the red flags that, tag along with it. Now, going into the draft, will a landing spot save him? I've seen some mock drafts where he's going to the Chiefs. Can the Chiefs be interested in a guy like him with the medical concerns? We ought to see, but I think it would be really fun to see him in that offense. And I think he could be the wide receiver 1. I know a lot of folks like Rashee Rice over there, but his off the field issues has been concerning. Who knows if the Chiefs are confident enough in giving him a second contract there. But that's like the earliest I've seen him go. Another team that's been getting buzz is the Dolphins, just because they traded Jalen Waddle. It could give Malik Willis a weapon to finally throw to. So that could be a easy plug-in fit kind of guy where he'll be a wide receiver 1 and demand a lot of targets like he did in college. Now, a consensus one I have been seeing was him going to the Ravens. And Lamar fans, they've really been asking to get like a real wide receiver 1. And I mean, we'll see. Him playing alongside Zay Flowers, I don't think a guy like Zay Flowers will, demand more targets over a guy like Jordyn Tyson's caliber of play. Because if we're being real, comparing those two as prospects, Jordyn Tyson does have the better prospect profile. So I could see him doing well over there in Baltimore, considering previous years where it's been a run-heavy offense. I mean, the offense still starts with Derrick Henry, but they just got a new offensive coordinator, Declan Doyle, who came from the Chicago Bears under Ben Johnson. So we'll see what kind of philosophy he follows. Probably the same as Ben's, considering Ben loved to use tight ends and loved to run the hell out of the ball. And a lot of play actions as well. Some play actions will be dealt in Baltimore. And one of the worst landing spots I would hate for him to go to would probably be the Jets, because the Jets, they have no type of offense running over there. They have no quarterback. You already have a guy like Garrett Wilson who's a lead at his position. Like, that's a spot where he'll definitely be a wide receiver 2. And I just don't see him escaping that direction if he's going to play alongside a Garrett Wilson. And there's 2 other teams that I have in mind in case he, just falls because of medical concerns and teams are just too scared to draft him. We got the Steelers. I know the Steelers been wanting a wide receiver his caliber. And the Steelers offense, it hasn't been that productive since like Big Ben. But I know the Steelers, they went out in free agency. They traded for Michael Pittman for a 7th rounder. They also extended him. They do have DK Metcalf there, but I don't see DK Metcalf being there long term. So who knows? The Steelers, it could cap him out in his first rookie year, and maybe his second, depending if DK's still there or not. And the last team would be the Browns. I think they have pick 26. Where they could draft him if he falls all the way down low. And the Browns take offensive tackle with their 6th pick. I mean, he'll be the clear wide receiver 1. He'll play alongside guys like Harold Fannin, Jerry Jeudy. I don't see him being on the Browns for that long either. But the same situation with the Jets. Who's going to be their long-term QB? Will it still be Shador? Or will it be Deshaun Watson, who comes out of nowhere? Now, for fantasy reasons, in fantasy drafts, in a redraft, I think I could draft him around in the 7th round to 6th round area, and depending the situation where he lands. And then in startup drafts, I would definitely draft him around in the 5th round to the 4th round. And when it comes to rookie mock drafts, I would definitely say he would be a lock at the 104. I don't think he's as good compared to Mekhi Lemon and Carnell Tate. That's just my opinion. But I do think he is a better choice than guys like Fernando Mendoza and Casey Concepcion and Denzel Bost. Just let me know your thoughts about Jordyn Tyson, if you're really high on him or if you feel the same way. I'm open to any opinion, and I would love to talk about any future prospect going into the draft. That being said, thank you for watching this video. I have other videos on guys like Makai Lemon and Carnell Tate talking about their profiles, and I will consistently keep uploading videos like this in the near future. So hit that like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.